Hi friends, it's Laura. Welcome back to my channel. It's time for another What Sold This Week video. And as always, I'm starting with what I sold during my Whatnot show, which ended probably about an hour ago. I usually end a show and then I kind of like chill out, have some lunch, mess around on my phone a little bit. Too long. Anyway, we're going to get into wrapping all this stuff up because I got to get to the post office in 2 hours. And I'm going to show you what I sold while I wrap it up. If you're new here, hi, my name is Laura. I sell women's vintage clothing online on sites like Etsy and eBay, sometimes Poshmark and Depop, but not really, and on Whatnot, which is an online auction platform, but you probably already know that if you're watching me at all. Anyway, today's show was a good solid show. I got really spoiled. I had like 1 or 2 shows where I made about $500 or more after fees. And so that's now like my new normal expectation, which is not a realistic expectation for me at this time. But I did make over $300 after fees, which is like what I consider a good solid show. So today I sold a total of 23 items going to 14 different buyers. 7 of those buyers are first-time buyers for me, which is pretty good. I used to pretty much average a 50-50 split of new versus return repeat buyers. And I feel like lately it's been leaning a little bit more heavily on the repeat buyers, which is fantastic. I mean, both are really good for different reasons, right? So it was interesting to see it as a split again today. I made a total of $365 before fees, which should come to about $315.12 after fees. So good solid show. Very happy with it. Let's see. Let's, I guess, just get into wrapping it up, right? I don't need to keep like the whole time. So I did take last week off. I didn't have a show last week. So I was worried that that would impact my sales a little bit, more so in the algorithm sense. Like I think if you skip some time on Whatnot, if it's used to you showing up and then you don't, you kind of get it hurts a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. It was a pretty good show. So first item is this dress that I think is really adorable. This is like a 90s mini dress and it doesn't have a tag. It's got this like great fuzzy texture, which I love. This is going to a new to me buyer. This dress sold for $15 plus shipping, of course. Now if something got bid up at all, I will point that out. Generally I start my bidding on Whatnot at $15. So if I don't say this got bid up, whatever it sold for is what the starting bid was. Usually that's the case for me. I'm just picking a little bit of lint off of this poor little fuzzy dress. So this dress sold for $15, which is what I started the bidding at. This was a really adorable dress that I had for the first time in my witchy themed Whatnot show, which happened a little over a week ago. It obviously did not sell there, but it sold today. So that was very exciting. I really should be using a lint roller and I'm not. Okay, let's see. Let's get this folded up and look semi-cute because this is a new to me buyer. So let's see. Nice, nice. Oh my goodness. Okay. Get this folded up. Oh my gosh, with the lint. It's like a teddy bear. This somebody else referred to a different dress as like a teddy bear brown, which I thought was a really accurate description. But this dress is literally like a teddy bear. It's furry and it's so cute. I'm probably not going to like go super in depth on showing you the items themselves because I do haul videos every week. And a lot of this stuff has been in super recent haul videos, which means that you've probably seen it very recently if you've ever been here before. Sorry, I just have to grab a bag, which is always just off camera because I always forget to grab the bag. But there we go. You can still hear me running my mouth though, so we're good there. All right, next up, let's see, is a repeat buyer for me who purchased this suit set that I was very excited about. I think this is so pretty. I just picked this up yesterday for me. It should be like 2 days ago for you. This like rose plaid, adorable. I paid $4 for this suit and I sold it for $15. So you can see there's not always like a huge profit margin when you go per item. After, a $15 sale on Whatnot gets me about like $12 to $13 after fees. I paid $4, so I'm making $8 on this. And I modeled it and I did all the measurements and I'm doing all of this, folding, and I took the time to show it in the show and all that. So it's kind of a lot of work for not a ton of profit at all. But you can't really look at it as a per item thing. You kind of have to look at it as a per show effort. The way that I kind of look at it generally is, yesterday I went sourcing. I spent, I don't know, like $100 basically. And then today I had a show, and after fees, I'm getting $300. It's not exactly a one-to-one, because did I get it all the same exact? No, but that's kind of how it works out in my brain. And of course, then hopefully, usually I'm going to have some nice kind of sales on Etsy or eBay or whatever to offset things. I've heard this rumor that you have to list things online if you want them to sell, which is like just, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. But despite the fact that I've been paying almost no attention to anything other than Whatnot lately, I've still been making some sales on Etsy and eBay. So I even had a nice Depop sale last week, so that was impressive. All right, second package all packaged up. Okay, let's see. Got that done. Next up is a repeat buyer who purchased one item. This is the dress that she referred to as teddy bear. I think she said teddy bear brown, but similar to that first dress, in vibe and everything. Very adorable. CDC, which I thought was funny. This also sold, this sold for $19. So I started the bidding at $15 and it ended up selling for $19. So that was nice. Let's see. This was also included in my witchy show last week. I can't remember if today I showed it once and then it didn't get any attention, and then I showed it a second time and it got bid up, but I could be making that up. I don't remember. It happened a whole 2 hours ago, so you can't expect me to actually recall. But okay, let's see. You'll fit in here. I finally had to order some new poly mailers for the outside envelopes. When I send off my packages, I always put everything into a clear poly mailer to protect it from whatever dastardly deeds. And then of course there's the external mailer. And I've been using these mailers for ages that are these really cool printed, they're called the tattoo recovery mailer, and it's got a tattoo art style. It's very colorful and, very colorful. And the company doesn't make them anymore. So I haven't found anything that company makes that I like enough. I found other companies that make really cool mailers, but they're literally triple the price of what I'm paying now. And it's I don't know. We'll see. Next up is a new to me buyer who purchased one item. This dress, which I also had in my witchy show, it's very like forest witch, nature kind of flower crown kind of style, in my opinion. I think this is really pretty. I love this print. And this is a plus size. So it's R&M Richards. I think it was marked size 24 or something like that. This sold for $15, which is great. I feel like I've had more plus size stuff lately than I've had in the past. I've always had a really hard time finding decent plus size stuff. And I had that one estate sale I went to where I found a bunch of plus size, which was a great estate sale. That stuff was I'm saying plus size. It was probably more extra large, to 1X kind of plus size. But I've also found some things in the regular thrift that are also on the larger size as well. So it was nice that I was able to sell this because I've been feeling like I don't get plus size buyers in my shows because I don't usually have plus size stuff. So I feel but the thing is that kind of stuff always takes a little time to make its way around. I think I tried having a plus size show before that estate sale, a little while back, and it didn't go great. But I also mixed plus size and kids because I don't really do either one of them. So I tried to advertise it ahead of time to gain some traction. I don't know that I really did. And also by advertise it ahead of time, what I mean is I scheduled it and talked about it probably like twice. So I don't know. Let's see. Next up is a new to me buyer who also purchased one item. This sweater, which I just sourced yesterday, really cool, like a space dye kind of sweater. There's the tag. It's got this little drawstring waist. It's very cute. This sold for $15. So anyway, so I feel like maybe I'm slowly building up a little bit of some plus size buyers. I'm selling a piece here and there. Let's see. I still have a bunch from that estate sale that the majority of it I want to try and list on like Etsy and eBay, but also every week that goes by where I haven't listed it on Etsy or eBay yet, and I also need some additional inventory for Whatnot, is another week where another piece gets plucked from the Etsy pile and stuck to the Whatnot pile. It's fine, you know, like I paid low enough that it doesn't bother me to list it on Whatnot, but they're really neat pieces that I don't get access to too frequently, so I'd rather get them up on Etsy, you know. All right, let's see. Next up is another new to me buyer who purchased one item. And it's this blouse, which I think is really cool. I thought it was neat when I bought it. When I tried it on, it was so pretty with this wide neckline and then this elastic at the waist kind of like made it gather. Really pretty on. This sold for $15. So that was a nice surprise. Okay, let's see. Get it. Fold it up. Oh, this is not really going to look very pretty folded, but it's okay. I made another Depop purchase, guys, but this one I think is really going to be worth it. I've been looking for some Doc Martens. My Docs, I bought vegan Docs a jillion years ago. Hold that thought. The next buyer is another new to me buyer who purchased one item. They got this really adorable little like umbrella print dress. So cute. And this sold for $15. So I bought Doc Martens new years ago, but I bought the vegan ones. And they are absolutely shredding apart. The zipper tore apart years ago. I probably had them laced too tight, to be honest, but the zipper tore 8 million years ago. And it's just been slowly tearing a little bit more. Like at this point, it's like torn like this much. So I zip it, but like the fabric is pulled away from the zipper on one side. But now it's also just, you know, it's like what vegan leather does. Like the finish is flaking off and it looks terrible. I do get compliments on them because people seem to think I have done that on, I don't know, like I'm wearing them like in a grungy, distressed way. And I'm like, no, I'm wearing these in a, I am too cheap to invest in another pair way. Next up is a repeat buyer for me who purchased one item. He's very cool. Is it a skirt? No, it's gauchos or culottes or whatever you want to call them. These sold for $16. So I started them at $15. They got bid up to $16. I know you're jealous. Look, we can't all be me. You can't all just have the overnight success that I've managed to achieve on Whatnot. Work hard and you too can go from $15 to $16 on an item. No, I kid. I've had some really fun bidding wars on occasion, but frequently, yes, it's exciting when I go from $15 to $16. I'll be like, oh, somebody bid, more than one person. So, all right, let's see. So Doc Martens. So, you know, I've got these vegan ones, they're falling apart. I've been searching for new boots for ages. Here's the thing, that what I want is either does not exist or maybe exists and costs $400 and I'm not paying that. I want them to be tall, like mid, whatever, like the taller, the better. I want them to have a side zipper but I also want them to be leather, made in England, vintage docks in pretty good condition. Like they don't have to be in perfect condition, but they can't be like totally jacked. And ideally, I want them to be either smooth black leather, because they've got like pebble, whatever, they've got all sorts of stuff, or like a cool color. Like I've seen some dark green that is really amazing. Or there's some floral print ones, but the problem is the floral print ones are typically later. I don't think that they're the vintage ones, but I don't know. And if the floral ones, if they did make a floral vintage made in England Doc Martin, you know that shit's going to be like $700, right? So anyway, that's why I can't find any. But what I did find brings me back to my Depop purchase. Hold please. Next item is a new to me buyer who purchased one item. Which one was it? 77. That's you. Okay. This hand dyed slip. So you can see this is hand dyed. It's like this sort of like midnight sky kind of effect because it's the dye doesn't all take up super evenly, right? One of you did comment on here in another video with some tips for dyeing, which I've read before and I'm always like, meh. But one of the tips is you use a little bit of dish detergent, which is supposed to help with the evenness of the color. So maybe I should try it. Maybe I should try it. I have Dawn dish detergent. I mean, I have Mrs. Meyer's too. That's what I use. I use the Dawn only for like laundering things. Mrs. Meyer's is what I use to do my dishes. Anyway, this sold for $17. I started it at $15, but it sold for $17. So let's see. I didn't forget about the Doc Martens. I'm still talking about those. Next up is oh dear. Did I lose my, no, that was that person. Okay. Next up is a repeat buyer who purchased 4 items from me. So first up are these red pants. These are 80s Gitano, I think. Sort of like chino style pant. These sold for $15. They're a larger size. They were marked 18. They're probably more like a modern large 14. Is that an extra large? So I thought they were going to be smaller than that when I did them in the haul video, but after measuring them, they had a 34-inch waist. So that's very fuzzy right there. All right, so Doc Martens. So I've been looking for these docs that don't exist, right? All over the place. But what I did find was somebody on Depop had a shit ton of vintage made in England Doc Martens, but mostly shoes, not boots. And all of them were my size, which is weird, but hey, yay. So I ended up getting a pair of made in England black leather Mary Jane Docs. And I think they call them ballet flats. They were like, you know, they have the strap across, but it's like a little bit more rounded. It's not like the big bulky toe. They're really cute. And they were like $85, including the shipping and the Depop fees and everything, because the buyer pays Depop fees. But I'm excited to get those. I hope I like them. All right, the second item that this buyer purchased is this skirt, which I think is so freaking cute. I love the colors on this. Adorable. And this sold for $15. So the Doc Martens, the one thing that's always annoying, especially with the vintage ones, is the sizing, because they are all just marked. So like I wear a US women's 10, which seems to be a size 8 in the UK shoe, but it's like a unisex size 8, whatever. The modern docs have all the sizes listed on the shoe, so I always know that it's definitely a 10. These are all marked size 8. Generally, the modern stuff, it's a UK 8, US women's 10, US men's, whatever, I don't know. So hopefully it should be fine, but I'm still a little nervous. She did put a measurement in there of like the insole of the shoe, how long it was, which is like just barely longer than my foot. So that seems like it should be correct, but I'm nervous. So next item that this buyer purchased was, where did you go? Was this. This is a silk shirt. It's like a little semi-sheer, right? Little ruffle here, made by Tess. And it is silk, and this sold for $15. That's cool. Do. All right, let's see. Make this get folded up neatly. I've been very fortunate today, both during my Whatnot show and also right now. Miss Rizzo is like out and about, but she's not sprawled out across my table, which is very nice for me. All right, and the final item that this buyer purchased is another one of these hand-dyed slips. This, again, you can kind of see that looks like a cloudy night sky in a way. Very cool. So this had pre-bids on it. I had the bidding start at $15 and it got pre-bid up. I think before the show started, it was up to $21. And then one or two other people bid on it during the show before I ran it. So by the time I ran it, the pre-bid was up to $23. When I ran it, it did not get any additional bids. So this sold for $23. But that's fantastic. I'm very excited about that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is all of her items. Put that there. What kind of bag does this want to go in? Here, these guys. I got excited for a second. I was like, oh, I only have 3 more packages, but one of them has 6 items in it, which is great, obviously. Just, you know, when you're like near the end of something, you're like, oh, I'm almost done. And then it's like, not really. So, all right, let's get these in here. This is cool. Yay, that fits very nicely. Hooray for me. All right, squeezing all the air out. Okay. I did make another Depop purchase, but I don't think I showed you guys. I got an 80s raglan tee, white with navy blue sleeves or royal blue, some kind of blue. And then the front has like a unicorn, and then there's like some unicorn design on one sleeve. It's very cool. It does smell smoky a little bit. And the seller sent it in just a clear mailer. Like, you know, it's like if I just popped this in the mail with a label on it, you know, it's like, come on, man. But whatever. So it got here and I've got it in the laundry. The next item that sold is a repeat buyer who purchased this dress. This color block 80s. It's very cool. It feels like acrylic, almost fleecy, but it's polyester. It's not fleece. It's just a really soft jersey knit. It's very cool. Let's see. I'm going to button all these buttons. Button all the buttons. I felt like my show today was a little, again, I don't want to say slow. I just felt like I didn't have as much interaction from the audience, which is fine. Like, that's not their job. It's definitely nice when the people watching are more interactive. But it's certainly like, I am terrible when I am in a Whatnot show. You know, there's a lot of times that I will purposely try to be interactive to help the seller. That's usually like if it's a seller that I kind of know, and half the time I'm just watching the show because, you know, I'm trying to be friendly and networky or whatever. But, you know, if I were legitimately like watching to like decide if I want to buy stuff like a regular buyer, I probably wouldn't be chatting a whole lot because I'd have Whatnot playing while I was doing something else. You know, and it's like, it really takes all your attention. You have to like stop and then chat. And it's easier for me to do on the computer, but then I can't bid through my computer. I have to bid through the app. It's just, you know, so I don't expect buyers to do all of that. It's a lot. I always appreciate it when they do, but you know, it's definitely energizing when chat is interactive with you, but I look at that as like a nice little bonus for me. So I see a lot of people in the Facebook groups kind of complaining that chat is not interactive with them. It's like, that's not their job. They're the fact that they're a body in your show is like enough, you know? So be happy about that. And then of course, when they buy stuff, fantastic. And then if they're chatty with you, bonus. But you know, you always I stop and look a lot at how many people are in there, because sometimes when there's not a lot of interaction, and you know, interaction can mean a lot of things. Sometimes people are just being chatty, but you know, making requests and things like that too. Not a lot of that going on. But that's the thing. I felt like I didn't have tons of requests, but I still had you know, profited over $300 on the show. So a couple of pre-bids, not tons. I think I had three items that had pre-bids before the show started. And then of course, other people pre-bid during the show. So I always have to remember to go back and check my pre-bids at the end. All right. Who did this? Okay. Yeah, this sold to a repeat buyer for me, but I don't know that it's anybody who watches here. It's like, sorry, I have this picked up a lot of hair. Let's see. All right, so yes, this color block dress sold for 15 bucks. Let's get this in. Oh, you're not going to want to fit in that bag easily, are you? There you go. There you go, friend. In there. All right, let's see. I have 2 packages left, but the one is 6 items. So, I'm sorry, no, I don't. I have 3 packages left. All right, I'm going to do the 2 smaller ones first. So next, new to me buyer who purchased 1 item. Ah, this thing, right? Yes. This was another hand-dyed piece. This is so much fun. I love the puff sleeves and the lace on this. This sold for $15. I was a little surprised, but because I think this is so fucking cool. But also I was surprised it didn't sell in the Witchy show, which is where I debuted it. I was surprised it didn't get bid up, but it sold. And it's the price that I'm obviously happy with, because that's where I started it. So, and hopefully the buyer loves it. It's so cool. Let's see. There we go. All right. Will this end up looking decent? Fold it up. That looks fine. It's okay. It's not my most stellar work, but it'll get the job done. Not bad. Okay. Next up is a repeat buyer who purchased 2 items from me. And let's see. We'll do this dress first. We got this dress, which is like a 90s Moda International. And it's this great like burgundy brocade. There's that tag. So cool. And this sold for $15. I gotta sip my little bevy. So good. I've been drinking the fuck out of these energy drinks, but the thing is that they're like my little happy little treats. You know, they're only like 10 calories each. I am convinced that that kind of means nothing. They might only be 10 calories, but I think they're doing other things to fuck up my weight or something. Like I feel like I've gained a lot of weight lately, and I think that they're part of the reason why. But it's like better than eating candy, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to cut back. It's hard. I give up cutting back on whatnot days, specifically because sometimes it's just like a taxing day. So whatever it takes to get through it, you know. The second item that this buyer purchased is this yellow floral polyester shirt. It's kind of like a smock style with these pockets. It's very cool. And this sold for $15 as well. Let's see, get you out of there. All right, let's see. So the other thing that I have to remember with my whatnot shows, like some of the pre-bids this week, I had, like I said, I think I had 3 that were pre-bid before the show started. And 2 of those had been pre-bid a couple days ago because I took all of the stuff from my sweater show, my witchy show, and I migrated everything over into today's show. Because again, like my first 30 items are always brand new, but all of the stuff after that has been in previous Whatnot shows. And in the past, I wasn't really migrating things over immediately because I didn't want people to look at the show and go, oh, none of this stuff is new, and think that that's all that there was going to be. So I was holding off on pushing things forward until I had the new stuff loaded up. But the problem is I don't get the new stuff loaded up until like fucking midnight the night before. So now I've been trying to be better about just populating everything and renumbering things so that it'll start at number 31. But also I feel like my regular viewers understand how things work by now. So they would not be super surprised to see a bunch of, they would still know that there's other new stuff that's going to get loaded. Okay, the final package that I have to wrap up is a repeat buyer who purchased 6 items from me. First up is this, which is a shirt that I worked on in sewing class. Yay! This sold for $10, which is what I started the bidding at. In the past, I've sold pieces like this for $5, but I feel like my skill was a little bit better on this shirt, so I put it up to $10. I had to replace the zipper. So you can see like the stitching around the zipper, not terrible. It doesn't look like a blind mule stitched it. And then here, this is the only part that I didn't really like. Like I couldn't replicate the way that this was done when it was manufactured, but it's still pretty good, right? Like it's not the prettiest, but it gets the job done. So this sold for 10. Put you there. So I was very excited about that. I am grateful that I have the opportunity to practice the skill. I am grateful for the people who purchase my items, and I'm excited that they hopefully get a cool, fun thing and that the item gets to live its next life. So there's that. The second item that they purchased, this very cool top. This was like a wrap style. This probably went with a dress or something. It would be like wrapped like this. I can't show you with one hand, right? But very cute. And this sold for probably 15. 15! Sold for 15. Let me get it all folded up. Sorry, this is not going to be folded super cute because it's weird, but I feel like you'll be fine. I feel like you will. Oh, that's the good. We got to put that side. Oh, never mind. I can't. It's like I got to showcase that side. Trying to flip this over at this point would have been a mini disaster. So here we go. Okay. Third item that this buyer purchased. So freaking cool. Neon pink Afghan poncho. So cool. Hand knit. This sold for 15 as well. Really, it's awesome. I wish, like, I love the look of ponchos, but from a sensory perspective, like if I'm putting anything sweater related on, my arms need to be covered. I can't stand like sweatshirts that come down to here. I don't understand like the whole puffer vest situation. That's what baffles me, because if I need to put on something that's puffer anything, sweater anything, it's because I'm cold. And when I'm cold, my arms are the colder part of me. So, I want to love ponchos and wear them, but it's like you have this nice cozy tent on, all this air is just coming up and circulating around stuff. And I don't know, like they're so cool looking. I love the vibe, but I can't do it. Let's see. Next piece that this buyer purchased, also a really cool item. This is, I think it was like a swimsuit cover up. This is the print. It's like a wrap skirt. And then it's like longer. It's very awesome. It was Oscar de la Renta. And it's got like, it's similar to like a ballet skirt, not a tutu, obviously, not those kinds, but the other kind of ballet skirts. It's really pretty. And I just think it's such a fun piece. Also does not want to fold neatly. What am I doing here? Okay, we'll get it figured out. This sold for $15. Okay. Yes. Next item. Let me see. I'll do that one. Next item was this sweater. This is a mohair blend. I thought this was so cool. This sold for $15, which is when I started the bidding at. And that's the tag. I had this in my sweater show. I can't remember if I had sweater show and then witchy and then took time off, or if there was another like regular show in between there. I think there might have been a regular show. So this would have been in the sweater show for sure. And then if I had a regular show, it would have been in that one as well. Would not have been in the witchy show. And then I guess today, my throat super dry. Hold on. Okay. The final item that this buyer purchased, I'm going to move all these. I can't really. Okay. Is this fantastic dress. I love this. So this is like a 70s sort of maxi length, and it's got this cape situation, right? Very drama, very disco, very goddess. And I got this at that plus size estate sale as well. I originally was not going to put it up on Whatnot. And then I think I put it into my witchy show. And then I carried it forward. I have several of these similar types of dresses up on Etsy right now anyway. I think I have one or two more that are waiting on some repairs to put up, you know, and by similar, I mean with this flowy sleeve shit going on, right? This one though was different because it was a larger size. This was size extra large, maybe a 1X. So that was really cool. I was very surprised it didn't sell in the witchy show. I had it starting at $25, which for something like this is totally reasonable. And it did end up selling today for $25. So it's fantastic. I feel like for 25 bucks, all right, the fold job is garbage. I'm sorry, but it's a little hard to fold. For $25, I feel like the buyer got an amazing deal, even if it's for resale. Like, because I list stuff like this on Etsy and eBay for like $150, $180, which is on the higher end of that type of thing. But even at like 80, you know what I mean? Like you're still getting some room to make money on this. Wow, this is, speaking of room, I have no room to get all this stuff into this bag. Let's see if we can do this. Can I get all of this into one bag? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's see. But, you know, so if it's for resale, still room to make some money. If it's for personal use, it's an absolute steal. It's fantastic. So, all right, let's see. So here's, right, this is squashy. Like, I feel like I can get it all in this bag, but it's going to look jacked. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try and put these two puffy things in the big bag. Time 2:40. Okay, that's cool. I think that we're good on making it to the post office at a decent hour. All right, there we go. I know that you don't need to sit here with me while I put these things in their last bag, but I'm not great at multitasking in case you have not figured that out yet. Although that's a lie. I was thinking about that this morning. So I was trying to do something in the kitchen and I was like rinsing something off with one hand while like closing up a pot or something with the other hand. And I was doing it. I was like, you know, we multitask all the freaking time. Like literally walking and having a conversation at the same time is multitasking. Like everything we do is multitasking all the time. So it's just like doing something that's like, what level of involvement is required, you know? So we do multitask a lot. We're pretty miraculous in that way, if you think about it. All right. Anyway, but also I definitely can't talk about two things at the same time. So bagging these up. I'll get all my little shipping labels printed. Very excited about that. And okay, so that's it. So I'm going to go print shipping labels. You're going to sit tight because I'm going to tell you what I sold on all of the platforms besides Whatnot. All right, let's see what I sold everywhere else. I was kind of excited because I thought I did pretty well this week, but then I realized that some of the sales that I thought were included are not included for this week. They're coming for next week. So it's actually a little bit pathetic. And there's a return in here, which sucks. But let's see. Let's see what I sold. We're starting off with Etsy, as we always do. So first up, I have this leather wrapped decanter. It was a really cool bottle. I found it at my local thrift. Made in Italy. Really nifty. And I had it listed for $79. The buyer did not use any kind of coupon, so it sold for $79. I paid $9.91 in shipping. I do free shipping on Etsy. I shipped it priority just because I happened to have a box that fit it really well that was a priority box. So I think it was like, maybe $2 difference, and they paid $79. So I shipped it priority. So I made $69.09 on this. So there we go. Next up is this really cool little halter top. So I got this at, there was a vintage seller who was like liquidating her inventory way up in New York, like 2 hours away from me. And I'll try to remember to link that video here for you. But she had so much good stuff. And she had a couple of pieces that she had made by hand, one of which was this halter top. I got 2 of them. This one, which is like primarily blue with a red band, and then the other one is primarily red with a blue band. So they're both very cool. This was purchased by a buyer in Canada. And actually the first time that she purchased it, because she had to buy it twice, I was not able to ship it because Etsy and Pirate Ship wouldn't let me ship anything to Canada because of Canada's postal strike. So I canceled the sale, and I did try to ship it UPS. I looked at Pirate Ship. And at first it was only giving me like this expedited option for like $75, which was insane. But then I saw that there was another option, but it still was like $26 in shipping. And even then there's been weird stuff with UPS. Like sometimes they're charging higher customs fees. I don't know, whatever. It's crazy because everything's crazy with international sales right now. But anyway, so I canceled her sale and I reached out and I said, look, I can't ship this. I had tried to ship it through Etsy. There was no option. Pirate Ship just had like a more expensive UPS. And so she said, I thought that the strike actually ended, but okay, like, I'd still really like it. I'm not in a hurry. So I went and I researched it. The strike had sort of ended. Canada had been on a full strike, but they ended that and we're now doing like a rotating strike, which I believe is still occurring. But because they were doing a rotating strike, at least, like there was some movement happening. But for a period, I guess Etsy, maybe the USPS wasn't accepting new packages yet because they were giving Canada some time to catch up. And so nothing was allowing me to ship. So I basically kept an eye on stuff. I checked in a couple times, and then I finally checked in. Pirate Ship was allowing me to ship. So I messaged her, let her know. She repurchased the item, and I got it shipped out to her. At that time, Etsy still was not giving me an option to ship, but I mean, whatever, Pirate Ship was, so cool. And so hopefully that gets to her with no problems. So that was really nice. She was super patient and really cool. So that was nice. This sold for $59. The buyer did use a coupon, so it was 20% off. So it sold for $47.20, but because it's international, the buyer covers shipping. So I made $47.20. So next up is my Etsy return. This one made me a little bit salty. This is the one where just like a week or two ago, the buyer purchased it on Columbus Day and asked if she could have it by Friday. And so I was like, you know what? Yes, I can get this out via UPS, like whatever. I checked all the times and the dates. And even if I had sent it by USPS, like it was saying it was going to get there by Friday, but you can't really trust USPS's timelines anymore because they're frequently inaccurate, which I hate to say because I fucking love USPS. Like they've always been fantastic for me. My nose is really itchy right now. Like there's a cat hair. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, so I didn't want to risk that. And so I looked at UPS that had better timelines. And so what I ended up doing was getting this shipped out via UPS. And I actually like went back out on that day, which I did not want to do. I think I had already been out like pet sitting for my friend. I had to go pet sit again later in the evening. So like this was going to be like a third trip out of the house for the day. It was cold and gross. I didn't want to go, but I was like, you know what? Let me do this, whatever. So I printed the label, went out, shipped it off. And then the buyer, needed it by a Friday. and then reached out to me the Monday after and said, hey, this isn't going to work for me. So of course, the first thought I'm having is like, ah, like, of course they needed it by Friday. And now that that day has come and gone, they got their package, I think the Wednesday before, and then reached out to me Monday. And so if you go into like Facebook reseller groups and stuff, there is so much toxic BS in there. Like any customer who returns anything is quote unquote renting the item. Like they're going to buy it, wear it, and then return it to you after they've worn it. They're always scamming. Like it's always this like toxic attitude. And so that had clearly like invaded my head. And I was like, ugh, you know, she probably like used it for whatever she needed it for. Now she's returning it. But, you know, she was within my return policy. There's no reason to say no, that she can't return it. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, here's how you return it. No problem, whatever. She returned it. And of course I get it back. And the thing still has like, it's like fucking crisply folded lines. Like she clearly did not wear this thing. Like I'm just, you know, all in my head about stuff. So whatever, returns happen. It sucks. So this return basically like was $47.14 that I had to refund. I mean, you can see that it sold for $49, but like Etsy fees get refunded back to me and yada, yada. So I had to pay back out $47.14 for this. I also looks like I have another return coming. My returns usually happen in threes. So I had the 2-item whatnot return that I made a whole video about, and this one, and now I have a third one that seems to be coming back. So hopefully that's my 3 and we're done. Let's see, but that's it for Etsy for the week. So we're going to move on to eBay. On eBay, I sold this cute little sort of cobbled together towel set. I had this listed on Etsy for a really long time. Apparently I have cross-posted it at some point. So it sold on eBay for $29. It was such a cute little set. So I'd found these 2, look at, that's the same photo basically, 2 different pieces. One is this like kitchen kind of towel, and then this is a washcloth, and they're not a set obviously, but they went together so perfectly. Here's a little washcloth, so freaking cute. And then the kitchen towel, that's all embroidered. It was just really, it was a really sweet little set. I loved it. So I had the set listed together for $29. It sold at full price. Buyer paid shipping on eBay, so I made $29 off of this cute little 2-piece set. And then the final item that I sold for the week is this vintage Love Valley, North Carolina t-shirt. Look how ridiculous my hair looks. It looks so neon. There's something about, I think I had this listed on Depop originally. And on Depop, at the time that I listed this, you could only have 4 photos and then a video. And so when I started cross-posting, I would just like play the video back and screenshot all the individual images. I would use the video to make like a slideshow. Good God. And then I would just like screenshot all the slideshow elements and then upload them into Vendu as the photos. But when you screenshot the video, for some reason, it like gave it this like Technicolor kind of look. Anyway, so I had this t-shirt listed. It was really cute. I actually purchased this t-shirt. It was one of the first things I ever purchased on Whatnot from a guy who like doesn't even do clothing. He was doing like random sort of like estate sale or storage unit type of hauls. His name at the time was Picker John, but I know that he changed his username because I think that he like got into a new relationship, and he and the woman both do reselling. And so they made like either changed their username or made a new account, something. Anyway, it was really cool. I paid like $5 for this t-shirt at the time. And I got a couple others from him as well. So this was adorable. I had it listed for $39. It sold for $39. Buyer paid shipping, so I made $39. And that's it, folks. Those are the only things I sold all week. There were no Depop sales. I still have not had a Poshmark sale since September 3rd. Today is October 25th. So cool, cool, cool. I've given up on Poshmark. I think that the only way I'm going to end up making any even like meager sales on Poshmark is if I start doing like more sharing. Like I go in and I share my Poshmark closet once in a blue moon when I remember, but at most it's twice a day. And more often than not, it's probably like 3 times a week. I've been thinking about signing up with Vendu's yearly plan, which includes some auto sharing for Depop and Poshmark, as well as like other sites, but I don't use those. So I've been thinking of signing up with Vendu's yearly plan. I just haven't felt like paying $300 all at once. I can right now. Like it's a good time for me to do it because I have the ability to do that, but I just don't want to see $300 leave my bank account. But it would be cheap. It would save me like 10 bucks a month essentially right now. I'm not using all of the listings in my Vendu plan currently, so it wouldn't hurt me in that sense. So I should probably do it, and maybe I would get more Depop and Poshmark sales, but I don't know. Anyway, that's everything I sold. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Hopefully next week we'll pick up a little bit. I've been getting some like nice, my Etsy sales have been kind of consistent-ish for about a week. I don't want to speak too soon, but I think, I've been having a lot of things expire. And so I've been like delisting and relisting, and maybe that's giving me some activity. I don't know. So fingers crossed. And I've also finally gotten my ass a little bit more into gear, and I've been doing some like regular listing. So I haven't been doing regular, I've been writing the drafts. I have to take photos for everything, but I've got a bunch of drafts ready to go. So I just need to get some photos taken. So anyway, that's it. That's all, whatever. Thank you for watching this. I hope that you liked it, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye.